Everybody's quite nice. As soon as you come through them gates, people speak. You walk down the road and people speak to somebody, say hello, they think you're a nutter. Simple word like hello. But I don't know. I think they're doing quite a good bit. I mean, at the end of the day, the old town is the old town. I don't know about the new lampposts and all this, that, and the other, this, that, and the other. But I think they should have made the most of what's already there. I don't know about Aldi's supermarkets and all this. I don't know if they've given the gateway for that one. I don't suppose they have. I'm not really sure. I live in my own little dream world today. Oh, God! Social inclusion. Social inclusion. In what way? That people don't seem what included. I think people just generally just say if you ain't got a pot to piss in, they don't want to know, do they? Do you think?
I think they could use the traffic situation. I mean, we're 24-hour-a-day traffic, and I'm talking heavy traffic. People can't cross the road. It's a death trap.
How much do I get for this? What do I think of Leamington? It's a tolerant community. I don't know, north-south divide. I think probably if you're a burglar you get better pickings up north. I mean, no one's ever talked about the east-west divide in this town really. You know, west you go west and east you go east. Or something like that.
Well, we've owned Royal Fish Bar for 21 years now, so we've seen a lot that's gone on around this area. Like, maybe because I've grown up here, I feel safe here, but I've got people who like live at the top of town who won't come down this area. They just think it's too rough, or they're going to get attacked, or something like that's going to happen to them. So it has got a bit of a reputation at night time, especially on the weekends. It made a lot of difference.
Back in the 80s, say late 80s, on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you expect some trouble like late night
all the time.
Yeah. But now, since the TV's cameras been put on, made a little difference from what it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's quietened down a bit.
You know, they should make use of those lovely buildings. There's kids around here. They've got nowhere to go, nothing to do. Why couldn't they make a really nice centre for the youth the youth of Leamington, not just down here? You know, there's some lovely buildings here, and they let them rot. Why? I heard a woman screaming outside, which I'd heard many a night. Women screaming, men drunk, fighting over women. And I heard this screaming this one night, and do you know something? I could have done something about it, and I couldn't. That girl was raped. And I was so used to hearing this screaming that I took no notice of it whatsoever. She screamed just the same as all these hysterical, stupid girls have had loads to drink.
A rejuvenation of something, you know, improvement, or which they have done actually. Regenesis, the bottom of town, is like, it used to be really dodgy, and now it's blossoming, and they've got flowers, and they've got nice lampposts, and they've really like made an effort to, you know, stop it being the dodgy end of town.
No, Leamington is a dirty, filthy hole. It's a beautiful town, but it's a shithole. The bottom end of the town is going back down the pan. It is. At one time that area was lifted up, it was getting good. It's a dump now. There's prostitutes down there, pocket drug dealers, social inclusion's a load of cobblers. You hear that from the government, you hear it from councils, and it doesn't work. They ain't going to include anybody in it. You go up to the new place they're going to build, where the old library is, the health centre.
Behind me here is the not very healthy health centre, and apparently it's 12 months overdue to be demolished. If this was at the top of the parade, you could guarantee this would have been finished 24 months ago, without a shadow of a doubt. This is it. This is here. This is how it goes. What's left, unfortunately.
There has been a Polish community much longer than that here, certainly since the late 40s, early 50s. We've been here for quite a long time. Well, it's obviously a question of numbers to some degree, plus the cultural differences are not as obvious, so we're less visible. We have to live and live, we have to accept diversity, and I think compared with the Leamington I knew in the 60s and 70s, this has been largely achieved.
It's a bit boring because there's nothing for like
our age to do. More like stuff to do. They need more. I think they should get fair or something like that.
Or like, yeah,
they need,
because you know, like they got on black.
Need more clubs and stuff, and youth clubs.
Yeah, youth clubs and stuff that we can do. Because
there's not much stuff for kids. More cameras.
Yeah, more cameras. And that place like and things you know that we can be safe. Like when you're down the canal, yeah, there's just this.
But say if you know there's a camera there looking and the police are looking for it, like literally 24/7, then you know you're safe. That like, there's someone there watching you.
I like the canal. I love being able to walk along the canal. I think it's a lovely feature, and it's a shame that people drop supermarket trolleys and all kinds of rubbish as dumped.
Well, I've always been attracted to water, the canal, the seas, the river. I told my mother when I was 4 I wanted to be a boat building workman. I just love being out in the country rather than stuck in towns and cities.
You just think I'm mad, don't you, Les?
That's okay, I'm a crazy idiot, that's better than common mad.
I was actually sitting on the barge a couple of weeks back out in Radford with a friend of mine who's from Leamington with his girlfriend, and old chap chugged past and we all sat there and he said, I don't know why they call it Royal. He said, what a bleeding shithole, this bloke said to us three. We all three burst out laughing, but if you actually go through the canal way from Warwick to Leamington, it isn't very pretty.
Yeah, I've lived here all my life and in this house. 60 years in here. Yeah, but yeah, it has changed a lot. They've done a lot, you know what I mean? Because when I come up this road, it wasn't built. Shifted furniture on the truck. It wasn't built. Hard up days and days was. I want to stay here till the day they take me out of here. No, I like Leamington. Good chance from the people, because some of them are nutters. Well, now you shut up because you're putting me off my stroke. I don't know what I'm saying to him. So I'm going to shut you, lock you in the bedroom.
The old people are afraid to walk around there because they're intimidated by the kids. You know, throwing bangers and stuff, you know what I mean, cameras.
Well, it's alright. Sometimes it's a bit rough. Yeah, this road's a bit trampy.
Just places where we can go to like show off what we can do, such as like our music, or so kids wanted to show off their football, or that I can do this, and so they can get noticed by people, because sometimes it seems as though you try and they just don't want to know, and you're like, where can I go, where can I turn?
Shortly after the war came, we moved out from London to Leamington Spa. Why Leamington Spa? I'm not quite sure. Anyhow, that's it. And we set up in Leamington Spa. The camouflage unit was composed, and was very much bigger than it was in London, was composed with a lot of painters, some of them well-known painters. Only one bomb fell on Leamington at that time. The result of this was that Queen Victoria's statue moved 2 inches. Exactly 2 inches. The statue moved on its base.
People who were born in this town and brought up in this town have no chance of getting on the property ladder, have they? And I think what's changed is there's a lot of people from outside, people from London and the south coming up here and buying up property just to let out and things like that. I've seen that, and that's, you know, and I don't think that's healthy at all. I really don't, because you're denying people who were born in the town, brought up in the town, you know, the right to have a decent place to live. I'd say there's a lot more crime down here, definitely. Definitely. I mean, I've been a victim of it.
I think it's really broken down a lot though over the past 10 years. Like I say, it used to be, you know, bottom of town used to be avoided. It's very dodgy, and you used to go to like the odd music venue or something, but you wouldn't like hang around too long or whatever, and it's got so much less intimidating. And
we need a camera around at the wreck. Does that do a tour like that? Do you want me to tour like that? As a Brooke does that. Come here. No, this is about the area there. Explain to this camera what is wrong with the wreck and the park where the kids play.
The riff raff around here like him. Am I joking? No, you get all idiot teenagers smoking,
We want a
swearing.
camera up down there so these little kids can play on it. They've just spent
They've trashed
40
it.
grand, I think, on the park, and there's no kids playing on it because the kids are drinking at night, leaving broken glass all over the place, yeah?
I was on the council from about 69, and through, I did 15 years, chairman of the council during that period, and the mayor of the town in 81, which was a tremendous feeling for me. Going to Buckingham Palace for me was special. I was born the son of a miner in the villages of Derbyshire. Left school at 14 to come and run my own businesses, and eventually get to the palace where I met Duke of Edinburgh on the lawns and so on. That's special for me. You can't buy that sort of thing.
The idea, of course, is to bring people out and getting them to working together again in their creative ways, whether it's mediating their issues or creating public art or having social events. A lot of the things that you've got present everywhere in England are quite exaggerated here, like the north-south divide with the river, where you've always had people in a much lower financial class, much less money living south of the river, and then over the north of the river, people with a lot more money. I think that's the real sadness about a divide when people are fighting over a line, is that the majority don't seem to figure at all in the culture, and people get forgotten very easily. And so I think Leamington's got this, very strong facades of Georgian buildings and looks very great, and often seems to have a lot to say. But then behind that is the silent majority, if you like, that really don't get a look in at all. I think, and I think that's the real story.
All the posh people live uptown, and all the not so posh people live at the bottom of town.
It's like a Heinz 57 varieties down here. One minute you've got somewhere where you can shop, the next minute you haven't.
The best?
At its heyday.
God, the heyday, of course, I'd have to be about 150 years old to remember its heyday. No, I suppose when I was a kid in the 50s.
Well, the food projects at Bath Place primarily are the cafe, which opens Monday to Friday, serving healthy, low-cost meals for the community. Connected with the food cafe, we have a co-op and a cookery book. And through those three projects, primarily we try and promote healthy eating. Bath Place
tries to promote and does promote within the local community access to various projects that people wouldn't necessarily have the chance to access, and we make that as open and as broad as possible, welcoming everybody.
Basically, the African Caribbean project emerged out of the campaigning of, in particular, the elderly community in Leamington. They were really frustrated with their circumstance in that they didn't have any sort of communal facilities where they could address the issues that affected them as a community. And it's through their hard work, really, and campaigning that they've got us where we are today. I think that's one of Leamington's strengths that they really need to grasp, the fact that it is a very diverse town with lots of expertise and a whole wealth of knowledge and wisdom. And I think that's something that needs to be grasped and built upon. And I think maybe that's something that a lot of the major service providers need to acknowledge as well and really use that resource. I think Leamington's still got a lot of potential, and I think there's still a greater role for the voluntary sector to play in Leamington. Although we're aware of some of the other voluntary sector organisations, I still think there needs to be that constant dialogue and working together. Really, that's one of our emphasis for the rest of this year as well, is to push that partnership working.
We are looked on as the poor relative, I think, from up the top there.
As I say, just carry on the work that they're probably doing, just generally making the place look a bit more habitable in parts,
Let's get all these things put right, put it into perspective.
Yes, it's called the River Lea. That is the divide between the two areas.
And this is the shabby part of Leamington. And you just cannot avoid seeing it.
There's less of a divide than there used to be, but there is still a South Town and North Town, definitely.
You do need a bit of scrapyards here and there. It adds to the character of it all. If everywhere was all sort of nicety nice, normal, then it'd be just like Milton Keynes or something like that, I suppose.
I think if they keep going in the way that they've been going since they started, then it's only going to get better, really. So, yeah, I think it's still good.
And I think my hope is that by doing the community media and making films like this, is that we start to home in on those forgotten areas and pick them up and hopefully bring some life back into those forgotten areas and stop leaving groups, individuals and area and communities out of the equation and saying Leamington is this, and whereas actually it's a lot of other things as well.
Ask you a question, Les.
Yes, sure.
What would you do if you had £1 million?
I'd destroy towns and cities.